What's up, Go enthusiasts? Today we have a very, very special video. We're going to be looking at the book of Pure Pleasures and Forgotten Worries, and in particular just one puzzle from that book called the Three Rivers puzzle. This book was written about 400 years before the printing press was invented. It's incredible. It was a collection of the best games and openings and puzzles that they had in the 11th century. 1,000 years ago, they created this puzzle, and it still holds up as being wonderfully beautiful today. I can't wait to show you guys. We gotta hop in, take a look. So up above me, you can see the original manuscript. We actually have it still. It's the oldest surviving Go book proper, in my opinion, at least. That, yeah, we still have. Like you can see, that's the Go position there. I took the exact page that the Three Rivers came from. That's it. Right there you can see that thing is the same thing that I have on my left over there. And the Three Rivers puzzle here is a full board puzzle. It's a full board Sumego. It's still about the life and death of groups. And it's not, we don't just play from here. The point is, can white capture those stones in the corner? If white can capture those 5 stones, white wins. That we're playing white. We're trying to win. So why all the other stones? Well, you're going to see. Those stones form the riverbanks that the Three Rivers flow through. It's really, really beautiful. So before we see how the riverbanks work, we've got to see this puzzle itself. So I'm going to take them off for a moment and just focus in on the bottom right by itself. Our job, white to play, capture black. So normally what you want to do is go and reduce, something like push here and Atari, and you can break into the black space. You capture this one stone, because we put it in Atari. The only way you can save is to run out, but of course we can continue to chase it, and it cannot continue to run. It gets caught in the end. So black, knowing that that one stone will be caught, does not have to save it, and instead saves these stones. So as long as black makes life and saves, in particular those 4 stones, black wins. Black wins the Three Rivers puzzle. So in this case, black is alive because they have an eye here and an eye in the corner. So white needs to find a clever way to do something better. You cannot just reduce here and you cannot just reduce there. You've got to find a way to go in. Feel free to pause the video and solve just this part of the puzzle if you like. It's probably about a dawn level problem from now. The correct move is the Tetsuji, the magic move T2, the 2-1 point. Black cannot just fall back when white connects, and black tries to take this amount of eye space. It's not enough. Black is now locally dead. It's a bulky 5 here in the corner, like that. So black must fight once T2 comes, but if black just descends like this, blocks it off from connecting, white is going to jump, like so, and black needs to connect. But then when white reduces and plays here, white will form an eye in the corner. Black can stop white from making 2 eyes, but still when white has this one eye in the corner, that means white is going to win capture races against black on the outside, and it means also, since this shape is uncapturable, it's what we call a nikare. If black captures it, there's only one eye inside. It means black is locally dead. Eventually speaking, white will kill this black group, and there's no way for black to stop it, because black cannot capture this group without dying himself inevitably anyway. So this is the crux. This is the key point of the problem. Black needs to find a way to do that, but better. To find a way to somehow manage to block white from going to the outside and also get value to save this or somehow. There's another magic move. So again, you can feel free to pause and try to find it. Black plays the Tetsuji S6. Wow. Wedge here means if white connects, then we can hane, and we're threatening to come out. White should cover it like this. But then, if white covers it, then we get to come back and block the corner as well. So playing something like this, we just eat the one stone, we'll get an eye here, and black has 2 eyes. So the key here is that black managed to get the hane in sente. Meaning the hane was forcing white could not connect out the T2 stone anymore, and then black could cover both areas, could cover on the right side and on the bottom side. So white shouldn't do that. Instead, white might try to Atari here, meaning if if black ignores, then white can still connect, of course. And black plays another Tesuji, descend. It's wonderful. It means that if white Ataris, we can Atari. And that's sente. It's forcing. We're going to capture the 3 stones. That would be amazing, obviously. So white would need to capture the 2 stones on the outside, and once again, we can clean it up. So instead of playing Atari there, white would probably be better served Atarying on this side. But once again, black can play this move, and this time it's still going to be forcing, because now, when white goes in, captures the group in the corner, locally speaking like this, now black can play to connect those 2 stones, and it's Atari on this 1 stone. That would be threatening to live, and then allowing black to cut here. Now white is under threat with both the 2 stones and the 3 stones, and white fails. So, coming back, white has one good method here, which is to fall back like this, and then do the same things that we were looking at before. All the same sequences like this. Black is locally dead again, and now when black cuts, then white is not immediately going to die in the corner. Instead, the fight spills out to the side. And what must have happened is sometime about 1,000 years ago, someone saw this, which is already awesome, but it probably happened in one of their games that somebody had this corner in one of their games. And they were looking at it, and they were trying to solve, okay, exactly what's going on here, what's going on there. And they found the magic move, triangle. And then they found the magic response, square, right? And then they saw, wow, this spills out here. And they thought, that's really cool. This spills out? That's awesome. Let's make it spill out more and make a puzzle out of it. And that's what they did. That's exactly what they did. So the 3 rivers problem comes from here. First, white needs to find the magic move at 2-1. Then black needs to find the magic wedge. Then white needs to find the correct answer all the way through like this. And black is locally captured in the corner. Now black needs to save this group by running through the white weaknesses. So black must start with the cut. Feel free, by the way, anytime to pause the video and sort of try to foresee the next few moves that I'm going to describe. From now on, we're just going to watch. I'm just going to show you the solution. It is gorgeous. So white needs to save these 3 stones right away, and if they save it directly, then black would capture the 1 stone and make an eye, maybe this way or this way. So white needs to Atari, and then needs to save the 1 stone at S7 by pulling it back. You can see it was important not to Atari at T7, because now black will cut like this, and if white had Atari'd, then white would die, but because they didn't, they managed to capture the black 2 stones. So now these 2 stones of black are captured, white is safe here, and that means black, this group, can only turn to the weaknesses of this side. Most importantly, the 3 stones. So black now has 2 main options, B or C, and experienced Go players know which one of those 2 is better. The correct answer is B, to chase those 3 stones. Then when white captures, we can Atari, and Atari, and you can see all of the liberties have been filled. All of the empty spaces next to white are filled like this, and we can keep on going with momentum. If black would play here, then this liberty still exists. It hasn't been filled. Black would need to fill it himself with his next move and allow white to connect through. It wouldn't be effective. So how is that working? It's because there's a cutting point at B, and whenever there's a cutting point, which is 1 space jump away from a stone of yours, by throwing in, their capture has its own liberty filled by that stone. And so that gives you sort of an extra bit of tempo, although, white originally had 2 liberties, and now they still have 2 liberties. This way, when we fill one of those 2 liberties, they have to fill the other. So they are going to lose a liberty through that throw-in, because we had the liberty already filled on the outside. So that's wonderful, and we can see that we can cut this way. And now it's not so easy. White seems to be escaping with all sorts of things. Black can only try to sort of mix all of the weaknesses together here and try this cut. So now white needs to save those 3 stones. If white would do it like this, then black would throw in and capture. And if white would do it like this, then again, throw in and capture. So white must do it this way. And then black can Atari, and Atari, and Atari. But yeah, suddenly here you can see it's not actually that easy to throw in because these stones might be weak. So for example, if you do it too early and chase this too early, if these 5 stones die and white saves all these on the outside, as long as white saves those and saves these and saves these, eventually black dies. This is the main crux of the problem. We're going to be talking about all of the surrounding white groups trying to save themselves. So this one is not that clear yet because these black stones are not so strong. To save these black stones, we're definitely going to want to connect at C, but we shouldn't do it right away. Instead, we should make the same squeezing shape that we saw before. Atarying these white stones and Atarying like this gains more tempo. Then we can Atari like so and Atari this way. Now you can see black has more liberties with this center, so now we can throw in here and throw in this way, and you can see this starts the 3 rivers flow. This is the 3 rivers problem. Black in the corner is locally dead, but white has 3 different groups which have surrounded it. And all 3 of them need to run, and they all need to save themselves. If at the very end, white can eventually prove all of these are safe, no matter which one that black chases, they're all gonna live, then white will have captured black in the corner. In the meantime, black has so much momentum, he's going to chase these 3 rivers all through the board. Let's take a look at how it happens. Well, we shouldn't really target the first middle, like the middle river first. Instead, we should target one of the ones on the side, because we're not exactly sure which direction we want to push this middle river towards. So let's start with the bottom side here. Okay, so we know that these Ataris are the only way to keep white compressed. It's the 3 rivers problem, so we're definitely going to keep a lot of liberty momentum against white. So for example, we can't Atari from this side and then allow white to connect at G15, because then they would have a whole host of liberties. It would not be possible to make any more forcing moves. So instead of this and then letting white connect, we're going to definitely push here. But then we get one of the first major decision points, whether we're going to play A or B. Obviously, if we play it A, we'll keep chasing it this way. And if we play it B, then we'll keep chasing it this way or this way. So we don't necessarily know yet between A or B. It's not that clear. Maybe we can take a pause and try to chase the other group over here. In this case, the other side group. Which one of these Ataris that you take is actually irrelevant. Either one will fill the liberties of white and black on both sides and not actually change anything, since if black dies with any of these outside stones, it's not going to work, and we just have to capture white, right? That's black's goal. So this can be the line that we go down, and then black definitely can't Atari here because white connects. So I'm going to play the simple Ataris. Obviously we can't let our 5 stones get captured, so we must Atari this side. We don't want to force black to force white to go into this direction, into the other health and safety that they have. We should definitely push it this way instead. And now we have a decision point. Should we throw in or should we play at B? Well, if we play at B, then when they connect here, they have 3 liberties, and again, we can't chase them so hard. It's best to keep these rivers down to 2 liberties if possible. So let's Atari and Atari. And now certainly we don't want it to connect to the big stick, so that's block. And we can block. Of course, we don't want to push it into the big stick again, so that's block and Atari. And you'll notice these black stones have somehow gotten surrounded throughout this sequence. So eventually, now black has only 2 liberties here, meaning the 2 liberty rule, which sort of gamesmanshiping that this is a puzzle before, this is now very, very strict in the upper right corner. If we leave this white group to have more than 2 liberties, it will just come back and Atari us and then save itself by capturing these stones. So that means we must now play an Atari against this white, either A or B. And of course, if we play at B, then they'll have 3 liberties, and no matter what we do, they will capture us. And of course, it fails. So we must play at A. This is the same thing that we were talking about with a cutting point and a 1 space jump away. By throwing in, then their move which captures fills its own liberty, and then when we Atari, the liberty is filled. And once again, here this is a similar thing actually, a capture and a 1 space jump away, and we can throw in. Now should we play at A or B to Atari this? Of course, the answer is A. Keep the cutting point there, so when they capture, the cutting point still exists, then we can force this way. Of course, we can't Atari that way, they would get 3 liberties, so we need to push here. And we can Atari this way, forcing it like this. If we would Atari from the top instead, it looks promising. If they push out, then like this, they're Atari'd and captured. They have nowhere to run, right? So they play some move and we capture them. But instead, they would just capture here anyway. So regardless of which one that you start with, we're going to get this end result. And now it seems we can't chase this right side river anymore. Even if we play at A or B, eventually we'll just connect to more white stones. So we need the help of another one of the 3 rivers. Let's come back and maybe we'll continue running down the bottom right river, or the bottom left one, excuse me. Yeah, it turns out here, we don't really want to run it to the center like this. It's going to be very difficult to deprive it from getting liberties next to this huge white stick. And if it can connect to the center, it would also help a lot for the white liberties. So instead, it's going to be better in general if we can push the white rivers towards black stones in order to help corral it. So we should push it down like this. And once again, you notice these black stones have gotten surrounded. It's very similar to the plight of these black stones over here. Of course, if this were a real Go game, we would not be 100% dedicated to capturing the corner over here. And like these little intermediate things, we would then start playing towards and all the stuff that comes with that. But this is not a real Go game. This is a Sumego. And in puzzles, we don't have to worry about reality. This is from the book of Pure Pleasures and Forgotten Worries. What would be the point of pretending to play the game from now? No, we aren't playing the game. We are just trying to capture black. So, even though when black Atari is here, black is stuck with 1 eye and only 2 liberties, and will die the moment that white gets more than 2 liberties, we will never let it happen. We're going to chase this white river to the ends of the earth. Allow it to run in the very similar way that we treated the upper right. In the top right corner, we're going to use the same kind of technique in the bottom left, and now you can see it seems like it's linking through to a lot of white stones. And additionally, we're in quite a lot of trouble with our cutting point over here. So we cannot Atari from C3. Obviously, that's a B2 bomber and a self-Atari. Double, double awesome. So instead, we should Atari from here, allow it to connect, and then we have to save our 5 stones by Ataring here. And we have to save our 3 stones by Ataring from that side. Now, again, we have a decision point, which side to Atari from, but if we Atari this way, it pushes white towards white stones. So instead we want to push white towards black stones by pushing that way. And again, a minor decision point here, but again, it's the same type of solution. We want to Atari white towards the black stones, making these black stones efficient by filling white liberties. Now you can see the middle river and the bottom left river are starting to link up. So we get the glorious move to split them apart. This is the riverbank in between 2 rivers. I don't know if I've ever seen that in real life, but here it is. And of course, we need to save this middle black thing. So now we can finally figure out with this middle river, the correct thing to do is to chase it towards the top. And now we have to figure out how to handle this black against this white. It seems like I can just chase white and fill all of its liberties, but unfortunately black is also short of liberties here. So it would be a bit foolish to play this way and then get killed. Instead, black should Atari here so that they allow themselves to connect through with an Atari. Everything has to be with Atari this problem, otherwise the stones over here or the stones over here would be captured. So white needs to connect. And we could Atari here, but then when white makes the 1 eye, then they have a bunch of liberties. We cannot chase them. So we have to Atari this side instead. And we have to stop white from connecting to the stone. We have to connect our stones. We have to push white towards the other black stick. And here we have, again, an option between A and B. If we play at B, then when white connects at A, they get 3 liberties. And therefore, we must play at A. White captures. And of course, we cannot take a break to go and connect. We have to keep Atarying. Atari here. White can't connect. They would die. And we can Atari again. So now we have another stick, which is abandoned in very much the similar way that the other ones were, although this one isn't immediately capturable. Now we have, again, a decision point, A or B. It's a little bit tricky to figure out. The correct move now is B. If you play at A, then eventually here, you'll notice that you cannot Atari at A12 because the white stone here is filling your liberty. It makes it so that this final Atari is self-Atari. So there's no way to approach this white. Instead, by playing at B and then chasing white along a very much similar trajectory, we can actually Atari at A12, although we're still extremely weak. We have at least the 2 liberties with that stick. So we have a very similar position to what we saw on the right side around T15 between A and B here. Now, of course, we need to throw in and Atari. And we need to force white to fill towards our black stones. Now this whole bottom left river has 2 things to go back and capture if it can only get 3 liberties. But of course we'll never let it have 3 liberties. We cannot Atari it to the top, whereas some more white friends. Instead we have to Atari it this way and this way. And we cannot allow it to Atari us, so we have to push there. And we cannot allow it to its friends, so we have to push this way and this way. All of this is mandatory, and somehow it has linked up. The bottom left river has flown all the way through the left side of the board, all the way towards the upper left, and found its way back to the middle river. Now those 2 go to the top side to link to the upper right river as well. And somehow, with those all meeting together, we're going to find the grand Tetsuji, the final magic move of the problem. First, we have to throw in, because we have a stone 1 space away. It fills the liberty of white. And now, it's the moment that we have to find the magic move. How can black successfully chase these 2 rivers together? There's only one way. Black needs to Atari and play Atari here. Now if white would bow down to the first line, it's not going to be successful at all for white. Black can continue to chase it, and you can see that the stones in the center here are going to be active for the other river down there. Remember, as long as black captures any one of these rivers, even after they've linked up, black will save these stones, and that's the only thing that we've decided that matters in this puzzle. So, white cannot run to the top side, white needs to run to the center, and now the magic move, black must play throw in here. This throw in does not have an accompanying 1 space jump away from it yet, but it will, because we can play that Atari in a moment here, and once we do, we can play this Atari as well. Now it doesn't matter whether white chooses to connect or capture. If they connect, then we will simply connect here and force them to capture anyway in a moment. So if they had captured instead, then we would do it the same thing. And we could have done this in some different orders, like you could also have Atari'd here first, and as long as we go down the same path and get the stones in the same spot, it's going to be the same thing. So finally, we enter the final stretch of the rivers. All 3 rivers have linked together all the way across the entire board. That river, this river, the upper right river. They've all linked together, and now we head to the final stretch, and it decides now whether white can capture this black in the bottom right or not. If white can escape, can get 3 liberties, then white can come back to chase any of the black stones, and however white manages to save this whole dragon of the 3 rivers combined, then white would be successful. So black needs to chase it, and of course black cannot force it to the white stones. We need to chase it towards the black stones. Atari and connect. White must go this way, and black needs to Atari and connect. White cannot connect here, so white must capture. Black can Atari, like so. And I am missing a stone. Am I not? No. I am not. I forgot for a moment. After Atari here, then the black stones are in Atari. Of course, the black stones are in Atari there. They have a shortage of liberty if you play at E19. So it's not possible. You must play here. And again, you cannot play that side because the black stones are short of liberties. They would be captured. White would be safe. So black must play from this side as well. White can connect. And I wasn't missing a stone. This is the correct board position. Black throws in. White can't play here. White must capture. Black can Atari. White must connect. And finally, black Ataris, and there's nowhere left for the river to flow. White is captured. After flowing the entire board, the whole way chased by black, chased to connect these two rivers together, chased to connect to the upper right river as well, all of them run through the entire board, and finally, white is captured. What does it mean? It means it didn't work. We did all this. We found the magic move T2, the magic move where black played S6. Remember, from the very beginning, this whole Sumego in the bottom right wasn't... that part of the puzzle wasn't easy at all. And then it's sort of flowing through the whole board, back and forth, and finally it doesn't work at all. This whole variation, from a technical standpoint, has no difference from the very first variation that I showed you. We could very well have gone back here and played whoop whoop and allowed black to live and gotten the same result. The most complicated way through the whole board, it didn't work whatsoever. And the problem creator designed it that way. It would have been extremely easy for the problem creator to simply add one more white stone here. If there was one more white stone right there, then the entire 206 move long variation, eventually here, if there was a white stone like this, black would still need to Atari, and black would still need to Atari, and when white connects, white would have enough liberties. 4 liberties is more than enough to come back and capture this, or this, or this, or this, whatever it is that white desires. If it went like this, then now the entire board would be white. But it didn't. Because this is from the book of Pure Pleasures and Forgotten Worries. And it doesn't really matter in the end, does it? Whether the 3 rivers manage to capture the corner or not. The joy of this problem isn't about reading 206 moves to capture. The joy of this problem is about simply experiencing it, having fun, forgetting the hardships of life in the 11th century. In the 11th century, they made this problem to forget about life for a while and enjoy themselves. And enjoy themselves they did. I hope you did too. This is such a fantastic problem. There's one more problem of its quality to match it called the 8 Immortals, also from the book of Pure Pleasures and Forgotten Worries. If you'd like me to cover that, comment below, like the video. If this gets enough positive reception, I'd be happy to. Please share it with your friends, whatever. I'm so happy to show you this game. I hope you guys enjoyed just as much as I did. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.